Happy Saturday, everybody. Kamar Yellis here, the Finance Rebel Show. This is our Saturday edition where we do our wealthy conversations. So today we got a great guest. So we're going to talk to a guy who started his own e-commerce brand. And this e-commerce brand is focused on Black women, in particular, athletic Black women. Without further ado, I'm going to bring in Elijah Watson, the founder of Kemetic Knowledge. How you doing, Elijah?
I'm doing all right. How are you?
Good. Thank you for joining us this Saturday.
Yeah, no problem. Glad you had me on. So,
so just to give everybody a little bit of backstory, right? Me and Elijah have been friends for a couple of years now. We actually met on Instagram. So when people tell you that you can't make friends on social media, let them know that's a lie.
True at all. It's not true.
That's not true at all.
Yeah, it's been what I think going on 3 years, somewhere around there. Because I was coming back from Japan. So yeah,
you went back to Japan longer than that, right?
Yeah, it's somewhere around there. Because I know I reached out to you when I had came back home from Japan because I was looking for somebody to help me, with my taxes, business advice, and stuff like that. So
right. All right, so listen, the reason why I had Elijah on today is because he's kind of figured out how to reinvent himself. And through that, he's actually reinvented himself several times. So Elijah, like I told y'all, he's the founder of Kemetic Knowledge. And I just want to show y'all what this young man does real quick. He's the founder of Kemetic Knowledge, like I said. Kemetic Knowledge is an athletic apparel brand geared and totally targeted to Black women. And so I find this story very interesting because it's rare to find apparel companies totally dedicated to Black women. So, today I definitely wanted to talk about this and get everybody to check this out. Now, there's something else I want everybody to see as well. So give me 1 second. And while everybody's waiting, do me a favor. If you know anybody who's looking to create a side hustle or figure out how to make money during Corona, I want you all to share this with them. So, I noticed that you take a lot of time and effort to put into your graphics. So when you look at that video, right, it's showing a little skin. But it's classy. It's not ratchet. It's not raunchy. It's swimsuits with beautiful Black women being highlighted somewhere on the beach. So you do a lot of stuff like that. So I'm curious, what is it? How do you come up with these ideas, basically?
Well, if I'm honest, I've always been, like creative. I used to do like art, draw a lot of pictures. I actually got into drafting or architecture because I was good at drawing. So it's kind of like you just see a picture, you have to have a vision of something, and then just putting the right people in place to execute it to make it come to life. So I feel like anybody that has like an artistic background will understand what I'm talking about. But you just got to see it first, and then the hardest part after seeing it is just executing on it and finding the right people that can bring that to life. So
Okay, so you didn't go to school for you did go to school. You didn't go to school for architecture.
I did drafting in high school, and then briefly after that, for like about 3 years, 2 3 years, I worked at a environmental testing company,
Okay,
and from there I ended up joining the military, and I worked in civil engineering. So, but I didn't do architecture stuff when I was in the military, just previous in my civilian job.
right. So you didn't go to school for fashion. That really wasn't your thing. That you just picked it up.
Yep. Yeah, I never no fashion classes. I mean, I'm from Jersey, so a lot of like close to New York, so a lot of fashion stuff. We always go to the mall, buy sneakers. So you kind of spend time like, and actually, the job I had, I used to work right next to the Cherry Hill Mall, so you spend a lot of time in stores, seeing what people buy, what people wear. A lot of, but outside of that, no school, nothing, just natural.
Now, funny, I know where you're from. You're actually closer to Philly than you are New York, but you decided to give New York a shout out. I'm offended. I'm offended.
No, no, I'm what 20, 25 minutes away from Philly. We grew up,
No, but so in all seriousness, right? So you were in the military, you got out the military, you moved somewhere like way out in the bumbleweeds, and you said, I'm going to start this brand. So what was it that made you do this?
um, honestly, what it was I think I came up with the concept in 2016. I had just started learning like the real Black history, the stuff they don't teach you in school, because they always start you off at anything after slavery and up, but they don't tell you about anything prior to. So once I started to learn, like, hey, the pyramids and Kush, those empires were actually built by Black people, and I found out the name of those, I was really intrigued by it. So from there, I I started doing my own research. I started reading more books, and one day I was at work, and I actually drew a picture of my first T-shirt design. You have to go way back to figure out where I started, but I drew my first T-shirt design, and we actually talked about this before. My original concept, I wanted to teach, under this name, I wanted to teach Black people how to invest their money, because that's what I was into at the time. So I did some research, and then I was like, oh, wow, I'm not a certified accountant. How am I going to teach people how to invest their money? I was like, I don't want to get sued. So I still had this T-shirt design. So hold on one sec. I need to plug my laptop up.
Yeah, that's important.
It just flashed up.
No, it's okay. If you're just now joining, you're watching the Finance Rebel Show. Every Saturday, we do what's called the Wealth Conversations. Always trying to find various people in the community that have an interesting and inspiring story, and then bring it to my audience. So today, we're talking to Elijah Watson, who is the founder of Kemetic Knowledge, and Kemetic Knowledge is, I want to say, a Black woman's fitness apparel brand. Elijah might describe it as something else, but we'll get to that shortly.
Yeah.
You all plugged up over there?
Yeah, I'm all good to go.
Okay.
All
So
right.
you were saying you wanted to teach people how to invest, and you wanted to kind of do it under this Kemetic Knowledge brand.
Yeah. So I had the T-shirt design. Then I did a quick little research, and it was like, oh, you can't teach people how to invest if you didn't go to college, yet. So I said, okay, cool. Well, I still got this design that I think is dope, and people seem to like it. So I sold the T-shirts, and I was like, huh, this is cool. Making hats, it's kind of progressive. And then at the end of my first year, like, business is not great at all, but I learned a lot. And once I came back to the States, I just thought like I needed to find a clear direction where I wanted to go, because I was just kind of making up stuff as I went. Like, I didn't know where I was trying to get to.
So wait, you started this before you got back home from the military. You started this
while I was still in.
Where were you located?
Japan.
So you started this abroad in Japan.
Yep.
And your audience or your customers were mainly in the States, or were they in Japan?
It was in the States. That was the hard part, because Depending on the season, Japan is 12 or 13 hours ahead. So when everyone is up like daytime right now here, they're asleep. It's nighttime. So I was trying to stay up to get in contact with people throughout the week. I'm staying up till 12, 1 o'clock in the morning just so I can get my hats and stuff made. My brother, before he actually joined the military, I used to stay up just to call him so he could ship the packages because I kept it at the house because I kept it in the States because shipping from Japan was expensive. So I used to send it all of the package to my brother and have him ship it out just so I can get it. One, they didn't have to wait as long because it probably would have took a week or two to get from Japan to the States. So from state in state, probably like 2 or 3 days. So I had to stay up and make sure he had the right addresses and just to get the packages in people's hands. So that was difficult.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So you come back overseas. I mean, I'm sorry. You come back stateside and you continue the business, correct?
Yes.
But it kind of takes a turn.
Once I got back, so I think this is when actually you suggested that I use my credit because
No, you jumping ahead now. You
okay,
jumping.
but so I come back and I'm
So
sitting
you
there.
right, you did the t-shirts and then you kind of even that God mode shirt, right? That's part of your earlier editions.
Yeah,
Right.
like
Yeah.
so like this stuff I had like that I had been working on, but I had decided to go when I got back from Japan. I was sitting because we hadn't moved into our apartment yet, so we're in the hotel waiting to figure out exactly if we're going to buy the rent this house or going to move into this apartment. And I'm sitting there. I had this little sketch pad that they give you in the hotel, and I just drew out the bra and the shorts that I had. I was just like, out of all the things that I learned in my first year of business, the most important thing was branding, right? So if I could just get people to recognize the logo, then I could basically put that anywhere and sell any goods or service that I wanted to. So that was my goal. So I already had my logo. Shout out to my boy Kenroy. He's a website logo designer. He has a whole team working with him out in London, but he was the one that designed the logo. So I took the logo, placed it on a sketch I had. I hit up some manufacturers, and I finally found one that could produce the bra and the shorts that I had. And the reason I went with the bra and the shorts was because I had been scrolling on Instagram, and if you do some research into Kemetic, um, you know, Kemet Empire, whatever, they had Kemetic yoga instructors. Now I'm scrolling, I see this Kemetic yoga instructors, and she had on bra and shorts. So I said, okay, this is something I could do. I was really gonna go after just that lane. And then as time went on, I realized that I could actually sell it to people who are in fitness, um, sports, athleisure wear, and then I just
Elijah.
kind
I
of
think
kept progressing.
oh there he is. You froze there for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, the Wi-Fi don't want us to be great. But let's back up real quick. So you went from selling like God mode shirts and you had an Empress I'm not sure if
These are crop like
right,
like sweatpants.
right. And you had the hats and then you drew the bra and the leggings because you were inspired by a yoga instructor.
Yep.
But what was it that really made the switch for you to say, you know what, this is something I want to do? Was it purely just the IG scanning, you seeing them and the connection with Kemet, with yoga on the pyramid walls and all of that, or was there something else, another business reason?
Um, to be honest, like it was it was really just seeing her. Like I didn't do. I know you're supposed to, but I didn't really go and see how big that market actually was. I was inspired by what I saw, so I created my first two items. Now,
So you didn't do any research.
no, I didn't. I should have. So I'm not saying anyone just to jump out the window and do something, but I was inspired. So I went ahead and I said, this is what I'm going to do. And then the next thing I know, I found myself out, finding people that were in that lane. And I didn't really understand how big this lane was. This the fitness, athleisure, sports. I see why Nike and Adidas are so big because, if we're honest, like I have a hoodie on right now, and most of the time I wear like track pants and stuff like that. So most people spend their time when they're not at work or in uniform. They spend their time in some type of fitness, athleisure wear. If I'm honest, so but I didn't know that at the time. I just did it simply because I was inspired by what I saw on Instagram.
Okay. Okay. So you had that, right? And then you started pushing it out more, and then you
Yeah.
started getting ambassadors.
Yes. So I went.
All right, so let's stop here real quick. How would you explain the Kemetic Knowledge brand at this point? Because I saw you smile when I described it.
Um, it's because it means a lot to me. It really does. It's how do I put it in words. Like it's to me. It's more at this point. It's more about because if you look at the name, my first thought was to try to teach people about some of the history, but then with things with time they evolve, and now it's when I see how Black women are impacted when they get the packages because I do take a lot of time in the tag, the box, the packaging, stuff like that. So when they get it, it's like all more so about how they feel. Like they tell me that they feel beautiful. So it went from me just trying to get a message out there to like actually inspiring people to be the best version of themselves. If they had, because I've had some women say they were insecure about certain things, but when they put this on, it's about how they feel. So if you see me smiling, that's because it's like I love that reaction. Like I made you feel great about yourself. Because um, rest in peace, Nipsey Hussle. He said one of the highest human acts is to inspire someone. So to be able to do that definitely means a lot to me.
So now with Kemetic Knowledge, are you looking to inspire Black women to pursue excellence through fitness and health, or is it just
Both.
selling clothing?
Both, if I'm honest, because like I said, athleisure wear is every day. So you might not be into sports or anything like that, but if you order, I don't know, because I plan on coming out like track pants or something, joggers, hoodies, or whatever. But if you once you purchase something from me as a whole, I want you to feel like, wow, like I want you to be inspired. Because when you look good, you feel good. You know what I'm saying? So that's a part of it, but I'm also there to provide quality and also promote a fitness, athleisure, sports lifestyle, weight training, anything along those lines.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you were telling us how you introduce ambassadors to your platform. And so just let everybody know what an ambassador is and how they operate within,
Um,
within your company.
so I have, I don't even know how many off the top of my head because we just added some more, but I have a bunch of brand ambassadors. And what I do is,
All right. When you say a bunch, we're talking 5, 6, 20, 30. You can
no,
just give
it's
them
in the
all.
hundred. It's probably at this point I would say it's probably about anywhere between 200 to 300
Okay.
people.
Okay.
And I started off I started off without brand ambassadors. I went to some women. I asked them. I said, "Hey, this is what I have. I'll give it to you for free. The only thing I want in return is some pictures. Just post some pictures so I have some content to repost."
So wait a
And
minute. I gotta stop. You gave people free product just for them to take a picture of it.
yes, I gave it a lot of free product. If I'm honest, a
Now,
lot.
I stopped there, right? Because I am a believer in the power of free. And some people think I'm crazy. And they think, Amari, you're the money guy. You're the business guy. And you're talking about giving out free stuff. And I say, yes. And I said, because one, you have no relationship with the customer right now. How are you going to start that relationship? Why should they trust you? And so usually You got to be the one to initiate that.
Right.
Now, if your brand is that powerful, like Nike doesn't have to do that, but you'll still see some of the bigger brands still do free product giveaways every now and then, some kind of contest. But however, smaller brands just starting out, it makes a lot of sense, especially if their product is good, to give it out, because then they start to build goodwill with their customers and clients, and with overall, so they get to develop a true brand, and that's what you've done.
Yes, that was probably one of the scariest things too, because just like I reached out to you on Instagram, I reached out to a bunch of people, and I had a board. I had wrote down, I don't know, I want to say like 30 different Instagram, women on Instagram. I didn't go for like all the girls that had like 2 million followers. I went for anyone that I felt like would look great in the apparel, and I felt like, okay, like feel like they're a little trustworthy. So I sent it out. I would say 70% of them posted pictures, and some of them I still send stuff now because they were one of the first people to give me a shot. So I just try to make sure, like, hey, like, I have something new. Do you want it? And they always, they do it now simply just from the love. Like, there's no money exchange or anything like that. So I really do appreciate that. But yeah, just because they were the first ones to help me out, I make sure they get different products, or I even send them samples of stuff before I even drop it, just just to say thank you. But I had wrote down about 30 names. I got all their sizes or whatever, and I didn't have that much inventory. I had, I want to say, 120 total. Oh, is that me or you?
Ah,
Was that me or you?
that was me. Sorry.
Oh, okay. You like that Jordan Lucas?
I was trying to pull something up.
Yes, I see you like that Jordan Lucas though.
I do. I
Yeah,
do.
I was just I've been listening to that nonstop since the drop, but um but yeah, I sent them the stuff, and then some of them within like 2 or 3 days they got back pictures for me to post as content, which was great. But yeah, so I definitely gave out free stuff, and I continued that. So when I dropped my next item, I gave it out for free. The next item, free, free, free. And it took time. And now I don't have to do that as much. Like, I still do it, but not to the extent that I was doing it at first. Because once you build that, like you said, that trustworthy reputation, like, oh, I'm not here to steal your money, um, or anything like that, then you know, people, will come and purchase from you. Then you're finding yourself, like I said, outside of the people that first started with me. Occasionally, I might find someone new, but I just give it to the people that started with me.
Gotcha. So I'm looking on your Instagram page right now, and I'm sharing it with everybody. And so you are approaching 95,000 followers on Instagram. And, I see some of the pictures here from actual photo shoots. So, and some of these are actually brand ambassadors that you highlight on your page. So not only do you give them free things, you also give them an opportunity to make money as well. And I know that you've actually had some brand ambassadors. Well, I wouldn't call them brand ambassadors, but you've got some shout outs from some major celebrities, or what I would call major celebrities. They might not be so-called mainstream, but in the Black community, they got clout. And, I know a lot of that started off with just you sending out free stuff for people to review and give you feedback on, and then obviously share with, their followers in the world, overall.
Yes. Like you said, the power of free is crazy, because one of the first things that people tell me when they get the product, they're actually pleasantly surprised at the quality of the stuff that I'm providing. Because when I came out, I had set, I think the first short and bra set was like $70, and um, the people were like, how are you charging this much, or whatever. Um, what I lost my train of thought. But they were like, why are you charging $70? Now I had those same influencers that you were talking about say, hey, look, this is good to go. Like, this isn't some cheap quality stuff. You know what I mean? So once they kind of verified and put their stamp on it, I started seeing more and more orders come through. Now my customers are getting their packages and they're like, okay, this isn't something cheap. I see why the price point is this, because if you buy something from me and it lasts you, in my opinion, you know, you spend $60 for this, $70, $65, $70 something for this, right? And it lasts you 2, 3 years, then in my opinion, you got your money's worth out of that one purchase. So that's my goal, is to give you a product that lasts you, not just, oh, okay, I've had this a month or two and I gotta throw it away. No, I want you to have something because I want you to keep coming back.
Right.
So
Right.
so those influencers that you refer to, once they say, "Hey, look, this product is good to go," and stamped it, that was how I got the ball rolling.
But I brought that up because, I say the power of free, right? And people think I'm telling them to give away the whole farm, and that's not the case. However, I'm suggesting that they make an investment in themselves by making an investment in other people. And I'm not trying to be disingenuous and pimp anybody else out, but Zig Ziglar says you can have anything you want in the world as long as you help enough people get what they want in the world. And so to me, that is a form of that, right? You're helping these influencers and fitness people have fitness apparel, right? So right now I am doing this May 100, right? So I'm running 100 miles in May. I've run sometimes 1 to 2 times a day. I need something different to wear every time because I usually take a shower. Now, sometimes I might wear the same sweatshirt on the same day or whatever, but I need more than one outfit to wear just for the clean sake, right? Not even a stylish factor. And so I find myself washing clothes like a lot more now because I'm just going through stuff. So you help those ambassadors and those fitness folks maybe lessen their load when it comes time to work out. And that is good. They get a chance to kind of test it out and see if there's any kinks in it. And they get to see it's actually good quality. So, it works. So, I get it. When you add value to somebody else, they typically come back and add value to you.
Yeah, I think you were one of the people that taught me, like, the goal isn't to actually sell a product when you're doing something, and the goal is to build a relationship. Because once if I just go and I can sell you anything, it could be cheap or whatever, right? But if I go and build a relationship with you and I sell you a quality product, I'm not just trying to get over you the first time we meet. I'm trying to build something with you, like with your, especially with your customer. They're gonna keep coming back. They're gonna spend more money with you long term than that quick little. I'm just trying to get over on you. So you definitely want to make sure you take care of those relationships and take care of or add value to those people, because they'll always come back and add more value to you down the road.
Right, right. So before we get too far in, I want to ask you something that you've been dealing with. You've got some copycats out there that have been trying to jack your swag, take your style. Tell folks how you felt about that when you first. Just explain that scenario and how you felt about it, because it's happened more than once.
It's bittersweet because one, uh, you create something that comes out of your own mind, your own heart, and you share it with people. You're excited. The thing about this, it's still a creative process, so it's still, in my opinion, this is still a form of my art. So for someone just to come up and just take your art, so to speak, and copy it and then sell a lesser quality version and then stamp your name on it, it's like, man, that hurts. But at the same time, you thought enough of it to go out of your way to do that. So if you're not trying to copy me, that means I'm not doing enough. But since you are, taking from me, then I mean, hey, that means you thought that I was big time. You know what I'm saying? So it's bittersweet, you know. But at this point, I don't take like the first time. If I'm honest, I took it personal. I really did because I'm like, I didn't know how to deal with that. That I'm like, man, you're gonna take my stuff, like all the things in the world you could create your own, but you want to steal from me, you know? Because I'm like, I'm not someone. In my opinion, like I'm not someone that has $1 million that doesn't need this. Like every sale is important to me. You know, even if I did, you know, it'd still be important to me. But I'm still trying to get to where I want to go. So why are you taking from me? So yeah, the first time I did, I took it very personal.
Right, right. But it's funny, right? We're always talking about haters and how haters want to hate. But to me, that situation is like the ultimate form of hate, even though supposedly it's flattery, right? Because they say that the ultimate form of flattery is, what do they call it? Copycatting or something like that. But like you said, they're taking money out of your pocket and they're knocking it off with a cheaper product, which also is brand damaging at some point. So you get why companies, you know, have these big legal teams and they do these things because, you know, people get knocked off all the time or bootlegged, as we say, you know, that they get bootlegged all the time. So, you know, you got to experience that firsthand. So you at a whole other level now.
It definitely showed me the power of like where I was going because I have the fitness side. Like before I changed directions and did whatever. I've only been doing the fitness side. Um, 2 years, but the first time I got knocked off, I had only been doing it for a year and a half. So to me, that showed the impact that I was having so quick that within my first year and a half, someone had already started to copy me. So
Right.
I just looked at it like, okay, well, if you continue at this pace, imagine the things that you could be doing in a 5 year run. So once I got past my emotions and me taking it personally, I realized like this could be huge. And it's, if I'm honest, it went beyond just me making some money, but just the cultural impact that this can have, you know, going down the line.
So you're what, 3 years in now, almost 4 years in now?
Um, so Kemetic Knowledge, the initial site, the before the fitness stuff, yeah, so launched June 1st, 2016. So
Okay.
yeah, 4 years.
So you're approaching your 4 year anniversary.
Yep.
All right. So congratulations. You're like
Thank you.
7 days out,
Yeah,
8 days,
I know, right? I should have a sale.
or some type of celebration.
Yeah, something.
What we learned through this process is everything shouldn't be a sale, right? Because then the customer gets used to the sale and discounted prices.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean that might not be a bad idea, the 4 year anniversary sale.
Yeah.
When you think about doing a sale, what's your thought process?
Um, there's a couple of things that goes into it. Timing, like if there's something that's kind of like hot topic, you know, that's approaching, like the start of the pandemic. If I'm honest, I had a sale right when they told us they were going to make us stay at home because I'm like, okay, well, these are hot button. People are already talking about this, right? And there's a lot of people who take advantage of that. If something is hot topic, they might throw a sale in there to ride that energy wave. So that's what I did. I had a sale, and the code or the coupon code was stay at home because that's what everyone was talking about. They were like, I don't want to stay home. So I took advantage of that. Also, if I need to re-up or I need to make some moves, maybe I need to have I want to create a certain amount of content. I might have a sale just to get that quick cash flow to make things move my way, or turn something over, or just time of year when the holidays approach. All of that plays a role into when you're going to have a sale.
Okay. Okay. Now I want to talk about something real quick because you brought it up earlier, and you just brought up inventory, right? And so you said I told you to use your credit. Now a lot of people in my audience think I hate credit, right? Which is the furthest thing from the truth. However, I'm not one of these people that are out here saying credit, 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 right? Credit is king because it's not. Cash will always be king. credit will be secondary. Actually, mindset's first, cash second, and then credit will be third somewhere. But people don't realize that you can't really build off of credit alone. You need a lot more. But I actually encourage you to use your credit when you were having an inventory crunch and a cash flow crunch. And so just talk about that. You brought it up, so just talk about that real quick.
I think, well, he knows me very well. I'm how do you put? I'm not cheap, but I'm frugal, right? So, I had the cash, personal cash, to do so. But once I get some cash, I'm not trying to give it up. So, uh, I told him my situation. I said, look, this is my first big purchase from China, whatever. It's so I went and they told me that my first bulk order was going to cost like $3,000 or $4,000. Mind you, I had the cash, but I told him, I said, I don't want to use my money. I don't want to give up $3,000 or $4,000 in cash, because it takes time to build up that much cash. So he said, use your credit. So I was like, I had like 2 credit cards at the time. My credit score was like 750, so it was good credit. So he was like, just use it. And then I was like,
because he didn't want to use the credit either.
Yeah, I was like, because I was so used to, like, I was so conditioned to just having a good credit score, just because I'm not quite sure, what's the point of having good credit if you're not going to use it. So once I got over that little, I don't want all this stuff on my credit, blah blah blah. I just went ahead and I made my first big purchase, and it was the best thing I did because that initial purchase got me going. And then the next thing I know, I was using it again to make another purchase, and then later down the line, I started learning about business credit, and then I started using my business credit to make purchases. So I definitely appreciate that advice because it was the the base of getting my business really jump started.
But you're always still trying to balance between the credit and cash in terms of what you're outlaying, right? I mean, because it's a business. You don't want to give out all your cash because you might need it. You'd rather use your credit because when it happens is once you buy inventory, right? And we should probably talk about inventory real quick too. But once you buy inventory, you can come back once you sell it and you can pay your credit down. And so it's a revolving thing. Most major corporations do the same exact thing. They rarely use their cash. They usually only use their credit. However, they had to build a substantial enough business in order to do that, to be in position to do that. So everything's kind of about timing. I see a lot of people out here and they have a product to sell. I get it. Or a service to sell. I get it. And so they want to sell credit services to a brand new company who has no idea about cash flow management, a brand new company who has no idea about inventory management, a brand new company who, again, just isn't even familiar with that. And so they push this great idea of, oh, you can get $100,000 of credit. But if you get $100,000 of credit and you're irresponsible with it, it'll be like, the cost will be like $1 million when it's said and done if you default on a lot of the stuff. So, I always get a little peeved by that. But let's talk about inventory, right? Because the title of these episodes, because I'm doing a whole e-commerce series, because I'm kind of like intrigued by e-commerce. I think Amazon and Google and everybody, even a bunch of people in my community, right? They have e-commerce stores. They found niches to do that. And one of the main things you have to do to survive is manage your inventory. So talk about how you manage your inventory and some of your struggles with inventory.
Before I actually, I want to say like the last month and a half at this point, has been crazy. I've sold, once I jumped over to Shopify because I was on WooCommerce before, my sales have gone through the roof. I've actually done more sales in the last month and a half than I did the first 3 months total. So I've been just trying to learn how to deal with that. So I have a lot of items on pre-order. Talking to the manufacturer because of the ship time. It takes them about usually about 30 plus days, but I recently just talked to them how to cut that down. But before that, it was, I would say, pretty easy because I was selling at a steady pace rather than this big explosion when I'm getting all these orders every single day. Um,
So that's all. Just because we're in Corona doesn't mean we can't make money. So just be mindful of that.
I've actually made more money during the Corona than I had at any point in my business, and in that same period. So yes, people are uh, making a lot of money still. So but I think it's mostly like e-commerce. Anything that was brick and mortar suffered, but online is doing great. So, um, but
But I mean, a lot of times you're getting the orders, you're stocking them, you're keeping track of them, you're shipping them, and you're still at this point doing shipping on your own. Like nobody else is doing it. You might get some help from time to time, but you're still doing this all on your own. And
yeah,
I see you talk. I see you talk about doing good in terms of sales on your IG page a lot. But like you said, this time right now is the most money you've ever made in your business.
yes, it's hands down. Like this morning, I woke up and before it wasn't even 12, and I had like 5 or 6 orders before 12. The previous day, I had like 30. Before that it was like 15, 16. And mind you, my average order before the switch or before the pandemic really was uh I was probably average like 4 or 5 every day, which is manageable. And even on the inventory side, I was like, okay, well, I can purchase this and I can sell this for a little bit and then I can move on to another item. But now I actually spent the most amount of money on inventory at one time during this pandemic too, because I wasn't expecting to sell everything that quickly. And that was something I wasn't prepared for. So now I'm just learning how to make that adjustment to where I always have something coming in, because if I get it, one of the keys, I have a lot of SKUs. And what I mean SKUs is I have 3 different color sets, right? So along them sets, you have everything from extra small to 3X, right? Now, every customer is going to come to you and they're going to want something different. They're going to want, one customer might want a medium bra, and then she might want a extra large or 2X legging. Now, the people like to buy things in full sets, so they want to complete their outfit, right? So that means I have to make sure that I have enough of every color and every size item to meet their want, which is an extremely difficult task, because if I have example, if $5,000 gets me 600 bras, right? So $5,000 gets me 600 bras, and I make, of those 600 bras, 200 of them are medium, right? Medium sells, if the medium sells the fastest, and I'm all out of mediums and more customers want mediums, but I also had to stock the other sizes and they're not buying the other sizes. Now I have an issue because now I have to go re-up again and I haven't sold all of this other size. I haven't recouped all of my money back from these purchases, which, once they see, and then once customers see that the medium is out of stock, they might not buy the bottoms because they are looking for a medium top. So within that, inventory is a lot of different headaches. But if you can manage and create a system, you could be very, very successful with your online store.
Got you. Now, out of all the things, what is one thing you wish you knew when you first got started in e-commerce that you didn't know?
One thing. Business credit. Where I would start, like we already talked about, I use my personal credit first. But what I would suggest is, because you get more capital with your business credit, so I would suggest you work on building that first. Like the first suggestion you gave me was to go get a Staples card and that's what I did, to start establishing that business credit. Because when you get to because um, you'll get to a point where I'm at now, where you're like, okay, well, I need to have some. I need $20,000, $30,000 to fund my inventory. You want to set yourself up for that day rather than get into it and then it's like, oh snap, what do I do? So I think that would be my biggest thing, is always set yourself up for the next level versus getting there and not being prepared.
Okay. And so we're roughly 8 days away from your 4-year anniversary, right? What's the next level for you?
Um, my next level would be to have a warehouse.
An actual warehouse, brick and mortar.
Not like, not to like an actual store, but one of my goals would be to have enough inventory where it's like I can't even fit this stuff in my house anymore. Like, and I have a couple employees, like that would be a dream or a goal for mine, because it's not just at that point, it's not just providing for my family. I'm able to put other people in positions and put money in their pocket and for their family as well. So that's my goal, is to not just be able to take care of myself, but also give other people an opportunity. So with that, I have some other goals. Me and you talked about, like, one day me owning a gym.
Well,
So
that's an idea. I don't know if that's a goal. Is it?
yeah, it's a idea, but just things down the line. So, but the next big thing would be to be doing enough orders every single day to where I have my own warehouse.
And so it's funny. I gave Elijah a goal, and he struggled with it at first, and then he just came out and he blew it out of the water. He didn't even say, "Yo, I did it." He just was like, "Yeah, this is where we at right now." He,
He gave me a goal last year, and it was,
we ain't got to say the number.
yeah, it was. He gave me a monthly goal, and I worked all year and didn't hit it. Did not hit the goal all of last year. So, and I was actually upset with myself for not being able to do that.
You were close though. You were close.
Yeah, I was close. I had some close moments, but I still was like, okay, I should still be hitting this goal. And that was my goal from January 1. I said, some point I'm going to hit this goal. And I hit it, like, and it almost happened like I was going steady. I was getting closer and closer to it. And then I just hit it. And now I was able to hit it the last couple months, like with ease, without even like thinking about it almost. And that's without me having all my inventory ready. Because like I said, I sold out all of my items in like a 10-day period. So then I had to do pre-order and I was still getting the sale. So without having everything set right, I was still able to hit that goal with ease. So I'm really, really excited about that.
Gotcha. So I want to talk about this real quick. I want to show this. You started a line recently called the I Am line. And I always laugh about this line because I brought a hoodie. I brought this hoodie from Elijah, and my wife came and stole it from me. Right? It's very well made hoodie. But not only does he have hoodies, he has like full lines, just like you would have at any other major kind of fashion designer. So you got joggers, hoodies. Why I Am?
It's a positive affirmation. So it's two of the most powerful words in the universe. Because if you say I am, whatever follows, usually comes to fruition. So if I say, like, before I even had a business, I told myself I am a business owner. And within, I said, a year, I became a business owner. Had an LLC and a lot of different things going on. I another example is at the beginning of the year when you gave me that goal. I didn't hit that goal last year, so I told myself at the beginning of this year that I am going to hit that goal. So and I did. So when you use those two words in that combination with whatever you desire, and you put some effort and you execute on it, the universe has no choice but to respond and give you what you proclaim for yourself. So I try to push that message so other people can, use that and make their dreams or their goals come to life.
Okay. Okay. Last question, and we'll do some Q&A if anybody has any questions about starting an e-commerce store for you. I'm always interested in colorism, right? If that makes sense. And how mainstream society likes to paint this brush of colorism. Dark skin versus light skin versus dark skin. But it seems like you always try to do a good job of having a good dark skin representation, right? But also having a good mix. Is that conscious on your side, or is it just kind of happened?
Um, it's a little of both, because one of my goals was to just highlight Black women in general. Because if you get on these social media platforms, you see like uh you what you would call light skinned girls and dark skinned girls, and it's like there's this divide as if we're two different people. No, we are the same. So I wanted to make sure everyone understood that, like, hey, there's no difference um in us. So yeah, I just made sure that every type of woman that's in our community was highlighted. You have women who might wear a wig. There's nothing wrong with that. You have women who wear their natural hair out. There's nothing wrong with that. But I feel like we're so busy trying to put one down or put one over the other. Um, why not just cut the conversation out completely and just highlight them just being who they are naturally? So I say it's a little of both.
Gotcha. Gotcha. All right. Last question. Last question. If I'm a brand new brand and I'm looking to get in there to start, what would you tell me to do?
I would first thing I would do is find what direction that you want to go in, because I get this question a lot, and it's like, well, I want to make bags. They'll say, I want to make bags. I want to make I want to make something random, some shoes. You know, you have to know exactly who you are and what you're trying to accomplish, because if not, you're going to end up all over the place, and that is going to just lead to a mess. So once you figure out your lane, and just stay in your lane, you don't have to, especially nowadays, you just need to build your audience. And once your audience knows you for something, you don't have to go out and become these major companies. You just need to continually speak to your audience. So that would be my thing. So if figure out what you want to do and how you're going to execute it, and just do it. Don't worry about anything outside of you. Um, just stay in your lane, and you'll be just fine.
It seems like nowadays people don't believe in staying in their lane. It seems like everybody wants to jump on the multiple streams of income bandwagon before it's time to do so, right? There's nothing wrong with multiple streams of income. It's a timing thing.
Yeah.
So if you're trying to do God mode and I am and just Kemetic knowledge, and at the same time trying to create a sneaker, that might be kind of hard.
It's too much. Like I said, for the most part, yes, I have a small team of people that definitely support and help me out. But even then, it's still difficult, because the inventory management, I can design clothes all day, but do I have enough money to maintain that? People will approach you and say, hey, I want you to do all of these great things. And I'm just looking at you like, I don't have the correct infrastructure to maintain all of that. You know what I mean? So you just, I'm doing what I can. And when I'm ready to take that next step, then I will. But I'm not saying I'm, just going to stay where I'm at, but I'm comfortable where I'm at for right now. And let me make my adjustments and I'll move forward from there.
Gotcha. All right, folks, as we begin to close out, if anybody has any questions for Elijah, put them in there now. We'll take as many as we can. We only have about 5 to 7 minutes left to go. I'm sure y'all hear Elijah's son playing in the background. So, Daddy can't be away from his son too long.
Yeah, I got one in the
priorities
on the way.
Yeah, and one, that's right. You do have one on the way. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations. So again, if anybody has any questions for Elijah as it relates to business, please throw them in the comments and we will do our best to take those questions. So, you know what? While we're here, I just want to say hello to folks. Hey, Ms. Edith, how you doing today? Thanks for joining. It looks like you invited someone, Denise Andrews. Thank you for inviting. Netter Gold, our boy Mike Nightwing.
My boy Mike. Yeah, I need to get his stuff, man. That's someone I started with. I'm really proud of his growth. Like he's come a long way.
Mike's going to be on here. He don't know it yet, but he's definitely going to be on here. I love what Mike's doing.
Yeah, amazing guy.
Angela Mitchell, Mary Kay, happy Saturday to you as well. Thank you for joining us. Shelly Davis, thank you for joining us, sir. Happy Saturday. Charlene Curtis, happy Saturday to you. Thanks for joining. Mike, I don't think you missed anything. I think you know everything already.
Yeah, definitely. I call him when I got questions. So
exactly. Shelly said relationships. Rhonda Cox, good morning, Rhonda. Well, good afternoon now. Okay, be easy. I like to say the stay in your lane message. I'm researching the market of all-purpose cleaner, paper towels, toilet tissue, as well as hand soap. So I understand I have to pick a lane and branch out. Yeah, I mean, you could definitely start. There's definitely be easy. There's definitely a market for all natural cleaners. I'm not sure about the cost of production though, but I would say get it down, figure it out, how to make it work, how to make it smell good, how to make sure that it's what do they call it, the bacterial kill rate or whatever it's called is like, what is it, 99.9?
Yeah, they want to put 100%, but
yeah, I think 100% is impossible, but yeah, but I think that's a dope idea. I definitely think it's a dope idea. Charlene Curtis asked, what's the name of his company? The name of his company is Kemetic Knowledge. I'll share it again. Wanda Werner Collier said, what's the website? Kemetic Knowledge. I'll be sharing that again as well. What's your advice about how to navigate acquiring products from the Chinese market as it relates to quality? That's a great question.
I don't even got a minute. So what I do is you can get a sample, right? So you can get on Alibaba and figure out which product or service that you're looking to do, and then hit them up and say, hey, look, I want a sample of this, sample of this, sample of this. Now you're gonna have to pay for these samples and you gotta wait for the delivery time, but you can go down the line and sample which product you feel like will be best. And yeah, that's what I did. So I would tell anyone just to sample it until you can figure out which company makes a quality of product that you like.
All righty. So we got about a minute left, and people ask what the website is. So the website is Kemetic Knowledge. So everybody visit Kemetic Knowledge. Share the word about Kemetic Knowledge. I think 99% of my audience is Black. And so everybody knows that I am a lover and advocate of Black-owned businesses for the obvious reasons, right? It keeps money in our community. We know a lot of times we send money out of our community to other communities and help empower and enrich them. So I would ask that everybody go visit Kemetic Knowledge. I'm going to keep highlighting Black-owned businesses. And you might see a few non-Black-owned businesses, but I think they might have something of value. But my heart will always be with Black-owned businesses because, again, we have to support our own that gives and creates great value and quality because they help create wealth in our community by creating employment in our community, right? So the more money we have circulating in our community, the more money that circulates in our community, right? The more opportunity for an investment in our community. And listen, nobody's coming to save us. So if we are really serious about empowering our community, we got to start with self. So we got to do for self. So I know we have a few more. I think we got a few more questions. Well mixed. What do you mean by Debbie Wilbur? Well mixed. Does that count? Are we talking about biracial? Is that what we're talking about? I can give you my thoughts on that. I basically go by the one drop rule. So if you got a drop, you Black. That's all it takes. I see some people go against that, but that's my stance. That's my stance. And well, I'll say that for another day. But I go by the one drop rule. So I hate when people say like Barack Obama isn't Black, he's mixed. But the culture he follows is Black culture. His wife's Black, his kid's Black, the man walks Black. So yeah. It doesn't really matter. And I was going to say earlier, you can see some other people that come into our community that are not quote unquote Black or quote unquote directly of African descent, but that they follow Black culture for the most part. So, I think all that matters.
Yeah, I definitely.
Debbie says, I'm from Alabama. I grew up with a one drop rule. Yeah. When a Klan comes, what's going to happen? But what were you going to say, Elijah? I'm sorry.
All I was going to say was I definitely agree with that. And just my personal opinion is like, if we are constantly telling, I guess, some mixed individual that they're not Black, and they go on and identify with the other side, and then you're upset about that too, it's kind of like, well, like, what do you want them to do? So I feel like if we start and there's different people who have their ways about them, but if we just embrace each other for our differences too, then I feel like as a community we'll always be stronger and always be
right.
That's just my opinion.
I agree. And it's not about putting down any other race. It's about of self-preservation, right?
Right.
When we look at unemployment rates, because right now unemployment rate is like 14%. We got over 30 million people unemployed right now. Guess which community gets heavily impacted or worse impacted than anybody else? It's the Black community. So usually our unemployment rates run about double that of the national average. Right now, the national average is, again, 14% unemployment. I just looked it up. Black unemployment right now is 16.7%, but you got to realize it's an average, right? And everybody isn't reporting at the same rate as the overall country is. So typically we know the Black community suffers a higher level of unemployment. We see the wealth gap where you have your average Black family that has about $11,000 in net worth, and you see your average white family that has about $144,000 in net worth. And there's a stark difference. And one of the reasons for that is we're not generating enough in our Black businesses, whether they're inside a quote unquote Black community or online or somewhere else. And, I talk about this all the time, right? Maggie Anderson wrote a wonderful book called Our Black Year, where she shopped Black for a whole year, right? She, not her mortgage and car note and things like that, but she did her best to go shop at a Black supermarket. She's from Chicago. She did her best to buy Black clothing. She did her best to buy Black toys. It was very hard and very challenging. They actually accused her of being racist. But it's very odd to me that it's not there. Oftentimes a lot of those Black businesses to supply all of our needs aren't there. And that tells me there's something wrong with that. And there's a direct correlation with unemployment. And just in closing, Maggie talked about out of the $1.2 trillion that Black people spend annually in the United States, we only spend about 2% of it with Black-owned businesses. And if we were to just spend 10% of our money, we could create 1 million jobs overnight. 1 million jobs if we just spend 10% of our money with Black-owned businesses. So think about that. So hopefully you got a Black mechanic, a Black accountant, Black life insurance, Black doctor, Black dentist, Black as possible. All right. But Elijah, I'm honored that you were here. I appreciate you. Anything in closing, how can a community help you with your goals in exchange, right? Because we always got to be thinking about value exchange in exchange for spending, an hour of your time today.
This message isn't just for me, because you talk to other Black-owned business owners. I think one of the biggest things we would ask for is patience, because like right now I have about 150 orders that are pre-ordered. I'm waiting for my inventory to come in. Now, like I said, all of this stuff is a lot of this stuff is all new for us, so we're learning how to create infrastructure, whatever. But a lot of the times, Black-owned businesses get a bad name because something went wrong. Like I said, there's things on our side that we just have to learn how to do. So I just when you deal with a Black-owned business that's really putting forth the money, the time, the effort to even put us in a situation where we can create jobs for us, it is a struggle. So I just ask for some patience and just some love and some support, because we are really trying. It's not easy, and then every time something goes wrong, or one Black-owned business does something that isn't great, it's like we all get labeled as we're not ish. When our Asian company, these Asian companies, these white companies can do terrible things, fraud or whatever, but they don't get that same label. So I just ask for some patience, and we're gonna grow. You got to give a flower a chance to grow. So
No, that's awesome, man. I appreciate those last words. Listen, y'all know I'm here several times a week. I'm working on getting back to my daily schedule. But in everything I do, I always try to promote Black businesses. So please go visit KemeticKnowledge.com. Please share this broadcast with somebody who's interested in starting e-commerce, who's looking at creating some kind of side hustle or creating an additional stream of income. Because a lot of people got caught not being as financially prepared as they wanted to be when Corona hit. So share this with them. You never know who's going to inspire. But again, I ask that everybody go visit Kemetic Knowledge, share Kemetic Knowledge. Let's make Kemetic Knowledge the premier Black-owned brand that everybody looks to for fitness apparel. All right, that's my ask. So have a great day, everybody. It's Saturday. I know it's a Memorial Day weekend. Don't OD, right? Don't overdrink. Don't overeat. Don't overgrill. All right, and all y'all be safe. I'll see y'all next time. Don't forget, Wealthy Wednesdays will be next Wednesday, 8 p.m. And also, if y'all don't know, I started a new project, right? And I started a new project, and it's called the Black Wealth Project. And the Black Wealth Project airs every Sunday at 7 p.m. And you can find the Black Wealth Project on YouTube and on Facebook. So just Google or put in the search Black Wealth Project, and you can stay in tune with us. Again, thank you all, and you all have a great night or great day.
Yeah. All right, man. Thanks for having me.